Good morning, welcome back to another live performance kitchen. Lovely to see you all coming through. Hello, I'm going to say some hellos today. Hello to Griffey, to Boswell. Welcome, 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 Chand. Thank you so much. Waves to you all back. Well, here we are. I think you're probably quite used to me now bouncing around the kitchen, waking you all up on a Saturday morning. What are we doing today? Actually, it's a bit bonkers today, so I'm going to just calm it down. We're doing, well, I've put them down as condiments, so pesto and a form of brilliant beetroot hummus. But I don't know, is it a condiment? Is it a dressing? Is it a sauce? Is it a side? I don't know. I use it as all of them. So what I want to do is try and encourage you to use them just as versatile as me. And hopefully you'll see the benefits of making the homemade version over the not so healthy options, which I know are massively convenient and massively available, but I want to just talk you through while I'm making my own as to why it's well worth a tiny bit of effort. And then once you've done it once, you'll be like, oh, I can make it myself in a few seconds, okay? So, because I've got so much to do, I'm going to start with the pesto. And I know there's some of you still coming in, but you know, hello and good morning to everybody coming in now. Right, so with the pesto, I am going to use my NutriBullet. Now, clearly, you can whiz this up a number of different ways. If you do not have a NutriBullet or some form of a smoothie maker blender, you can use a big food mixer if you've got one, or you can just get busy chopping. So, quite honestly, it's down to one of them. For me, I'm going to go with this. Now, this is the really quick and simple bit, so watch really quickly. This is, for me, spring. It is the most gorgeous smell. If you're all cooking, any of you cooking with me today, just literally, let's just inhale. Take a deep breath and relax. Okay, 100 grams of the fabulous basil. Now, I'm using everything, and I've encouraged you, and I've put it on my recipe card, I want stalks and all. Not only because there's loads of benefits in the stalks, but because we don't taste them. We're just going to whiz this to nothing in a second. And also, it saves us having to cut them off. So, everything straight into your NutriBullet. Okay, now, I keep telling you, don't I? Please be kind to your NutriBullet. I'm going to cut it once, but to be honest, you don't have to. So pop that straight into your NutriBullet. I just love the smell that's coming away already. Now to that, garlic. I know I've said to you guys, if you want, use the frozen garlic in my recipes. It's easy, it's convenient, you can keep it in your freezer, it doesn't go off, blah. And yes, you can. And yes, you can use it in this. But I want to be honest and say that garlic, I think it loses its pungency when you freeze it. So if you're going to bake with it and stuff, maybe it's not so relevant, use the frozen. But because we're keeping this fresh and because it's such an integral ingredient in our pesto, if I can you please get your fresh garlic in your fruit and veg. The other thing is, I'm not going to expect you to chop this up yourself, so you're not going to have hands that smell of garlic all day. If you do, use lemon. But otherwise, just 4 cloves. Now, those are the size of mine. I know all cloves are not equal, but they're sort of, I don't know, a small handful. And again, if you like it really garlicky, obviously add more. And again, if you don't like garlic, obviously don't add it. So in goes the garlic. Pine nuts. Everybody loves pine nuts. I've lightly toasted them. It might be slightly more than lightly, but I quite like them like that. Anyway, 50 grams. I've done a bit extra here, so I'm not putting all mine in because I'm going to garnish with some. But 50 grams. Again, if you don't like pine nuts, you can use loads of different nuts. So you could use cashews, almonds, walnuts, pecans, whatever nut you like, pop it in. If you don't like basil, why don't you try it with parsley? Why don't you try it with coriander? Or why don't you do a mix that you can do some basil and then some coriander or some dill, whatever. It might work better with whatever dish you're doing. If you're doing a Swedish dish, add some dill. It's literally transform it to traditional Swedish food overnight. Okay, now, Parmesan, grated. 50 grams I've said. Again, if you don't like Parmesan, you can swap it out. Parmesan, if I'm honest with you, is the best one for this. It's a hard cheese and it's really strong tasting. So we get that instant punch. But if it really, Parmesan offends you, then please choose a different hard cheese like a cheddar or something. Please don't get those little boxes of Parmesan from the shelves. They're basically powder. They don't taste like Parmesan. I don't like them and I love Parmesan. So please, please, please in this, can you choose a Parmesan or a hard cheese from the chiller section? And then last but not least, I've gone for 100 mils of olive oil. And I'm actually going to ask if you'll use extra virgin olive oil for me, cold pressed if you can find it, because we're not traditionally going to bake this. So the benefits of it being cold pressed and extra virgin are really quite significant. I talk to you most weeks when I'm using extra virgin olive oil about the benefits. It's been linked now to all sorts of brilliant things to do with cognition, to do with brain, to do with it being a healthy fat. We know from the Mediterranean diet, that's been proven over decades and decades and decades. It's brilliant. Now, that's going to be quite thick, so let me give it a quick whiz. I'm not going to talk while this is whizzing. Yeah, too thick. My NutriBullet doesn't like it. If you want to do it like that, then by all means, put it in a food processor and you get a lovely, like, thick, stodgy, like, pesto that you can use to, you know, for your chicken fillets or whatever, which I'm going to come to in a minute. I've just added about another 50 mils of my olive oil there, just to help my blender out. Now let's give that a quick whiz. While that's whizzing, that's better. Okay, getting through all the garlic here. Perfect. Now, that's mine, it's done. Look at the colour of that. That's how a pesto should look. Let's just put some on a spoon for you guys. This is a pesto, okay? It's that consistency, it's that colour of green. So when you compare that to what you buy from a jar, I think we can appreciate the difference, even in terms of freshness. I haven't seasoned it yet, and I haven't seasoned it on purpose, because seasoning is something we all get so used to doing, we don't even taste our food before we season. It does need seasoning, but the first thing you ought to do when you've got to this stage is just taste. So with a clean finger, okay, no then, for me, that obviously needs salt, and actually I love pepper, so I'm going to go with pepper. But again, everyone's different, so please make your pesto and then season it. Now, at this point, I should point out, if you love spicy food, there's nothing stopping you adding a green chilli to this to make it peppery and hot and spicy. And we're going to work on now quite a few different recipes where that would really be good. So this is your basis now. We've done our pesto. It's taken us a couple of minutes, and we've got this wonderful pesto, which we can put into a glass jar. I save all my jam jars, and then I just use them for all my pestos and hummuses, etc. Or equally, we can freeze that in ice cubes. Put it in your freezer in an ice cube tray, let it freeze, and then drop them into a little freezer bag or freezer tub, and then you can just plop them into whatever, your pasta or whatever you want to use them for. Okay, before I move on to the hummus, can I show you how to use pesto? Clearly, you can just pour it through some spaghetti, some penne, and traditional ways, but how about we do it on a chicken breast? So, one chicken breast, I'm going to show this to camera in a minute. I've just cut it in half, okay? But I've kept it on one end so I can just fold it back over. Don't worry if you cut all the way through, it's not the end of the world, but I've just sliced it from one side across. Now, I'm going to spoon, again it's down to preference, but I'm going to spoon about 2 of those dessert spoons onto it, okay? Just like that. And then just like that, I'm going to fold it over, okay? Now you can go fancy if you want. You can put your cocktail sticks in, you can wrap it in something or other, a twine. I'm just gonna bake it now in a really hot oven. So I'm going straight onto a baking tray. Et voila, okay? And it's going straight into my oven. I put it at 425, okay? Now, can somebody remind me about that in about 10 minutes, please? Thank you. Okay, so let's move on. How about prawns? So with prawns, they cook in no time at all. As we're coming up to the time where we hope we'll all be doing barbecues again, where we hope we're going to be doing salads, how about we put a couple of spoons through a bag. This is just a bag of frozen prawns that I've allowed to defrost over about an hour. If you want a top tip for defrosting prawns as quickly as possible, just put them into a colander or a sieve and run them under cold water. Takes about 5 minutes and then they're defrosted. Okay, there we go. Now again, you might have your pesto in the fridge and you might think, I want these spicy, so then you can add some chilli to that. So pesto will basically just add this wonderful sort of dressing to anything, to sauce to anything. Because we've got olive oil in the pesto, I don't need to add olive oil to my pan. Plus I'm using a non-stick. So I've said before, if I ask you to invest in one thing, a non-stick will stop you using all the oils and butters and bad things that you put in to cook your good food. So please, 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 let's just try and use a non-stick and not worry about using oil where we don't need to. Right, so I'm going to pop them on my oven now. And these are going to be ready. They're already sizzling. These are going to be ready in a few minutes, okay? Let's leave them there. Now, a really, really, really simple thing to do is to create a really nice dressing. So what I want you to start thinking about now is all those horrible salad vinaigrettes that are out there where they're packed with horrible homogenizers and trans fats and additives and things to stop them from going off. We can create from these two different condiments so many different dressings. This one I'm literally just going to show you. Again, depending on how much you want, just pour some natural Greek plain yogurt into a dish. To that, let's add, I don't know, one of these dessert spoons. Now, you can be fancy, can't you? You could just literally blob it like that and take it over with some nice little, I don't know, crudités, you know, chopped up vegetables, or just whirl it through, have fun. Look how pretty that is. We all eat with our eyes. We're coming into spring and summer. Now what I would do with that is I'd drop a little bit of, here we go, I'm going to do it. Drop a couple of toasted pine nuts on top, a little garnish of your basil, and I'd serve that with some, I'd get one of my wraps. I'm going to do a wrap in a minute. I'd bake it, cut it up into like little pretend crisps, and I just have that for people to dip into when they arrive. So again, we've created a really healthy, gorgeous, stunning with fish, stunning with chicken, stunning with meat. You add it to your table when you do a barbecue. Just try for me these things. When you try them, this is then great just added to a sandwich, which we're going to do in a minute. So there's so many different ways you can use it. Okay, let me check on my prawns. Okay, so we can start to see now, look how that has started to create this, like all the lovely prawn juice is coming out and we're getting a sauce from it. So, and the prawns are starting to turn pink. I'm going to put them back on. These prawns, I'm going to use them today in like a salady thing or a wrap thing. I haven't quite decided yet. But why not just cook a little bit of pasta, throw it in your saucepan at the end, and then you've got that lovely sauce with it. You could have it with rice, you could have it with anything. And we're done. We're using our pesto again, something my children literally have this stuff coming out their ears. It's so accessible, so healthy, it's so tasty, and it goes with anything. Right, I haven't forgotten about my chicken, thank you. Okay, right, whilst we're waiting for that, shall I move on to the beetroot hummus? You know I'm a big fan of beetroot. I'm going to convert those of you out there. I've got an athlete who says, you'll never convert me to eating beetroot. I'm going to tell you when I do. Beetroot is packed with nitrates. Nitrates effectively make us move quicker. It transfers oxygen to our muscles and transfers it around the body, so it makes it easier for us to move, easier to propel ourselves. For the runners, it makes you run faster. Okay, that's the lecture over. So I'm adding it in here because it gives us that lovely sort of texture that we want. It gives us a fabulous colour, which is inviting to eat. It works really well with the additional ingredients we're using, and it's better for us. So if you don't like it, and I'm not going to convince you, you can leave it out, or of course you could add a different vegetable. So maybe a roasted pumpkin, or a steamed pumpkin, or a steamed sweet potato. Think something like that. Let's add more veggies into our diet and bulk out our hummus. Right, for this, don't use your NutriBullet, it's too thick. For this one, just get rid of my NutriBullet, and I'll bring in, this is like 23 years old now, my food processor. Right, my prawns will be ready now, by the way. Okay, I'll leave them off because I want to do my hummus and then I'll come back to them. Right, so I am using my food processor here. Let me see if I can get it into shot properly for you guys. Right, okay, I think it's in shot here. Everything's just going to go in here and get whizzed. So if you've got a food processor or something of this ilk, please can you use it? And if not, they are really inexpensive now. You can get really small versions, and you can get them from lots of different retailers and the likes of big supermarkets. So something along this is going to be really useful in the kitchen. Okay, the beetroot. It stains everything. I've put mine are a bit small, so I said 4, but I've actually gone for 5, but they are like little tiny golf, the less than golf ball, ping pong ball sizes for the athletes, thank you. So we're just going to pop them in. I know you're all saying your blade, your poor blade. I mean, as I did with my smoothies a few weeks ago, when I'm working with beetroot, although these little balls are just, no, my blade's going to have to just have a hammering today. Okay, so beetroots go in. 1 tin, I've put 400 gram tin of chickpeas. That's 400 gram tin, which I think once you pour the weight away of the water is about 270 grams of actual chickpeas for those of you that are making your own chickpeas from scratch. Okay, straight in. Chickpeas, absolutely ram jam packed full of protein. So brilliant, brilliant, brilliant source of protein. So don't forget the benefits. 4 tablespoons of lemon. We've got loads of earthy flavours there. We need to get a bit of a do-do-do. So let's go with that. Straight in. Olive oil, again, because we're not cooking this, can we please try and use extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed if you can get it. That means it's had no processing, it's had no heat through it, so it has all the benefits of the olives, okay? And they are massive. I mean, you just have to look at the popularity in the science world of the med diet and all the research being done on dementia and other brain-related ailments and long-term illnesses to know, get your olive oil in. Tahini, you either love it or you hate it. You don't really taste it in this. It's a sort of Middle Eastern ingredient. It's based from sesame seeds. Sesame seeds, great form of our omega-3 fats, full of micronutrients, and it comes when you get it in the shop. Comes on the store, on the side, like something like that, or a little glass jar, and you can just pour it in. 75 mils. It's gorgeous. You can add lemon juice and olive oil to that on its own and use it as a salad dressing with salt and pepper where you would those horrible things on the shelves, okay? So it's really, really useful. Again, garlic, 4 cubes, 4 cloves, sorry. Okay, in they go. And then, now, again, this is all down to preference. I don't know which I'm going to use. I've said ground cumin, so we'll start with that. About a scant teaspoon, okay, in this. Remember, we've got really earthy flavours here, so we do need to be a bit brave, but I'm going to add another one as well, so a scant teaspoon of cumin. This is obviously down to preference. If you hate cumin, then please, let's try something different. I'm going to go, we've got cayenne, we've got ground paprika, and we've got chili powder. Now, you can go with any of them. You can go with chili flakes, you can go with fresh chilies if you really like chilies. You can leave the seeds in and then it's really, really hot, okay, which might be your preference. You can go for chipotle, you can go for fajita, whatever you want. I'm going to go for cayenne. Cayenne is a brave one, so I'm going for a half teaspoon or a scant teaspoon. You know, you can always add more, you can't take away, okay? So let's try just being a little bit modest with that. That's everything. Let's give that a whisk. Oh, it's not. Sorry, I need to add my orange zest. So the zest of 1 orange, it is important. This is like the Middle East all over, and they love using oranges when they create things. Okay. We're just whizzing all that up, getting all those flavours to a lovely smooth texture. Takes a few seconds, and we create this bonkers coloured hummus for the summer. Okay. Right. There's my pink hummus. Now, depending on how many beetroot, depending on various things, it might get darker, you might have a lighter colour, but it's going to taste amazing. So, let me get a little teaspoon before I season. Let me taste. Definitely needs salt. It doesn't need pepper. If I'm honest, I'd add more chilli, but I won't for now. Okay, so let's move on and see how we're going to work these. I better check. I'm going to make a hummus pizza because why not? I'm going to show you the obvious ways of using hummus. But a hummus pizza, where we would buy a traditional pizza in the shop or from a takeaway, fine. But how about we get a wholemeal pita? Rather than putting on the traditional tomato puree, there's nothing really wrong with tomato puree, but why don't we, just for a change, and because we can, why don't we generously spread that pita with our beetroot hummus, okay? Pop it onto your tray, your baking tray. And how about We've got some little chopped tomatoes there. Let's use some of them. How about some olives? Some chopped up olives. I always eat food I like the look of. And I think if I'm feeding people, I like everything to look good. So far, we've got loads of different colours. Now then, in terms of a cheese, you don't have to put cheese on it. I'd say maybe feta. If you like grated hard cheeses, that's fine. I'm going to put a few blobs of a soft goat's cheese on, and then we're just going to add that to our oven, and I'm going to check my pesto chicken. Okay, so I don't matter. I mean, you can put on as little or as much as you like. I've just gone for like 3 or 4 blobs of goat's cheese. That's going to go into a really hot oven, 425. We're going to give it a few minutes, okay? I mean, inevitably, you can keep this in as long or as little time you want, depending on how well you like your pizzas. Okay, and that's great timing, because my chicken now is beautiful. Okay, so what are we going to do with this chicken and this prawns? You could basically do whatever. You can just eat them as they are, okay? So I know all you athletes, they just love their protein. Just eat them as they are. But why don't we create something a little bit different? So get a bowl. We're going to smudge. Now I'm going to do a butter bowl with you all one week, but this is like the space of a butter bowl. Get your hummus, get it on the back of a spatula, and smudge it along the base of one of your bowls. Now, that could be enough, but because I've got pesto, I'm going to use it. Let me get another spoon. And this is going to go on the top. Now, if you don't like the idea of mixing the two, but wait, because I'll convert you, you can sprinkle this over the top, okay? Straight down the line, okay? On top of that, we're going to add salad. You can add whatever salad you want, okay? But this is my salad, and these are the sort of vegetables, salad vegetables I use. Straight out the bag, organic, unwashed, don't tell me off, baby spinach, packed with nitrates. Now, some of you will not like baby spinach, some of you will want to use lettuce. I can see the hearts going up. Dark, please. Iceberg has got literally no micronutrients in it. So the darker the salad leaf you use, the more benefits it has, okay? So I've gone for spinach. Why not put some cucumber down? Cucumber, mainly it's water, bang, loads of micronutrients, but the flavours are great. I love a rainbow plate, so let's not miss out some red. I've gone for some pepper there. Again, that's perfect. You could just go for tomatoes. I've got some here, so I'm going to put some on. Why not? Okay, now let's slice some of that chicken. And let's put that chicken on top with... Now I've got asbestos hands, so please don't you guys do this. On top of this salad. And then I'm going to show it you. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's so pretty. It's perfect on top of this salad. It's perfect to go with a rice dish. It's perfect to go with pasta. However you want to use it. But on this occasion, we're just going to have it on top of that salad. Okay, how's that looking? Do you want to eat that? That is such a perfect meal. It's a lunchtime meal, it's an evening meal. You could have some steamed rice with it. You could have some form of baked sweet potato. I know, thank you for the hearts. I mean, it smells delicious, and we've just used pesto. You could drop a little bit more pesto on the top. You could have some fun. Splash it with a few olives, get some of those. If I had any left, oh yeah, here we go. Put a few pine nuts on, we're done. Okay, got to move on because I know you've all got busy days. Right, let me show you a wrap. One wrap. I love wraps because it's basically a lot healthier than too much bread. So, what we will do with our wrap is, I'm going to use both, but clearly you don't have to use both, but we've got both. So, again, just get your spatula, get your hummus, have some fun. How much fun is this? Just get that round. Try not to get it right to the edge, but just like that. I know some of you will be thinking, please don't put the pesto with the hummus again, but they work so well, okay? Little bit of pesto, dribble it on, again, like that. Now, what you could have done, and if I'd have thought about it, I would have done, you know the pesto dressing I made earlier on? You could use that. So this is the sort of thing that would work perfectly. Let's put a little bit on, okay? Put the pesto dressing on this wrap, and then get some of your spinach again. Put it down the middle. How about some of the, maybe we should put some baby cut up spring onions, okay? Let's pop some of them on. have fun. Put whatever you want in. What do you want in? A bit of the red pepper. And then let's go back to those prawns that we made earlier on. Now, look at those. How pretty. They are so gorgeous on their own. Literally, them on their own with the salad. But I'm going to put them inside this wrap. In terms of how many, it really doesn't matter. What I want to show you is this lovely sauce that's been created. It's just sat there, so that'd be great wrapped through some pasta or with some rice. I've done a whole bag there, so I'd say I'm going to use about half in this. Okay? But you can be as generous as you want. So again, I've just done that. I'm going to roll it up now for you to show you. You can have fun. I want you to have fun with this and add all your different bits to it. But that basically is a different take on a wrap for you. So it doesn't, wraps don't have to all just be fajitas. Okay, how pretty is that? Yeah, you like that one? Good. I like the hearts that are coming through for that. Okay, now I've got friends who love these. I kind of came up with this years ago. You might all do it, it might not be anything new, but I get the bags of miniature carrots, like chantilly or something they're called, and I roast them in an oven with 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, a whole bag, and I put chili flakes with mine. And when they've roasted, I let them come to room temperature, and I serve them at the start of a dinner party, or I serve them in summer with a glass of wine in the garden, or with a glass of water, athletes, whatever your preference. And what I serve them with is hummus. So I'm going to put some of that hummus that we've made into a nice little dish. And again, like I said, this is when you have fun with hummus and you think, wow, I'm going to make some hummus with coriander and I'm going to serve it in a Thai-themed sort of dinner party or whatever, a Thai-themed meal. Just have fun with these 2 condiments. So, we've got a beetroot hummus, we've got the carrot. We dip the carrot in the hummus, and that is a healthy version of all the store-bought ones. So, we've done loads of things. Let me just show you one thing. One thing. Okay, I've got some leftovers of these, right? What would I do with them? Well, I could just put a tiny bit of my pesto over the top of them now. So they've baked, and the reason I'm doing it like this is I've used all these amazing ingredients. I don't really want to bake my pesto, so I put them on top of the cooked carrots. I can just mix them up, and they will then have like a gorgeous pesto flavour as well. They're great on the side with chicken, with pork, with anything, or just basically on their own with some, I don't know, pasta or whatever. Have fun with your pesto and your hummus. Please promise me that you'll try making them though. They take seconds. They'll both last in the fridge, depending on your fridge and how full it is. I'd be generously about 10 days, okay? Certainly the pesto will last longer. It probably won't last that long because you'll all start to use it and eat it and love it. Equally, you can freeze the pesto in little ice cube trays and then just plop them out. And you can actually freeze the hummus. So the only thing you can't freeze in hummus is if you put avocado in, which is a different week. But you can just put that into like mason jars, leave the top section free for the air gap, or an equivalent, a freezable tub, and you can actually freeze your hummus. Okay, have fun. Let me know. Thank you so much for all these photographs you keep sending me. Oh, I'll tell you what I haven't done. My hummus pizza. Before you all go, my hummus pizza. Now, that's actually coming on nicely. Let me just feel the base of it. Again, I have a special fancy. Yeah, that's ready. So that's taken, what, a few minutes? And realistically, with that is just gorgeous on its own. You could, if you were being generous, you could make these, slice them up, and then just have them as little nibbles as well. But that is going to taste absolutely gorgeous. So that's your hummus-based pizza. You can obviously do any flavour of hummus with that, but obviously we've gone the beetroot this time. I'm going to enjoy some of that for my lunch. Okay, so I've got to do this. Garnish it, put some of your greens with it and your salad and everything else. We've had some fun today. I've gone through quite a few different options. Thank you for the hearts, guys. I'm back again next week. I'm going to do something sweet with you all. Why don't we? We'll have some fun. I don't know. Do you want some chocolate in there as well or something? I don't know. Well, I'll look for something really healthy, tasty and chocolatey for next week. But hopefully you'll all have a go, and hopefully you'll find and fall in love with your own ingredients for pesto and for hummus. There's lots of options. Look out there. You can put pesto with butter. There's so many different things you can do with these things. Just try to avoid, next time you're in a supermarket, look at what goes on the side of the pesto and even the hummus, and look at the difference in what you're actually putting in your body. Thank you guys. Have a lovely, lovely week, a lovely rest of the weekend. I'll see you all in the kitchen 11 o'clock next weekend. Take care till then.